Let's get into the morning headlines, and we have to start off with the big contract that broke just a couple hours before the show. DK Metcalf signing a 3-year, $72 million extension through 2025 with the Seattle Seahawks. He got the most guaranteed money out of a wide receiver in NFL history. AJ, gonna keep rolling with you, buddy. Gonna keep rolling with you here tonight. What does DK Metcalf's contract mean for the other wide receivers that still have yet to sign a new deal, like Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, those type of players?
Well, sadly for Deontay Johnson, I don't know if it means that much. I mean, we understand how the Steelers do business, and until it's his time, it probably won't get done. With Deebo Samuel, it's just going to have to be if they can come to terms together with the 49ers. They've been at ends. I don't know if it's still about whether the way he's being used or whether if he just believes he deserves to be the top-notch, best-paid receiver in the league. But it's the same as it's always been. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the next man up is getting the next dollar. So they may have to structure something for these guys where it may not be the most guaranteed money, but it's something that is comparative to what a DK Metcalf got and, of course, to what a Christian Kirk got. That's your new range now, Christian Kirk to DK Metcalf, and you have to be on the higher side of that. I mean, you're talking about Deebo Samuel as a guy who was a top 3, top 5 receiver last year in the NFL. Talking about Deontay Johnson, a guy who can project to be that way. So these are guys that deserve to get paid and are looking to get paid sooner rather than later.
You know, honestly, I thought about this question a lot before the show, and I was thinking to myself, I honestly don't think, and maybe I'm wrong here, I don't think that what DK Metcalf got in like this deal really has much to do with Deontay Johnson and Deebo Samuel. Obviously, it's the market, but I never realized how much better of a wide receiver DK Metcalf has been his career in his first few years as opposed to Deebo and Deontay Johnson. You mentioned Deebo Samuel. He had a great last season, which is all fine and dandy. Sure, he deserves the money. But both Deontay Johnson and Deebo Samuel do not have a full resume like DK Metcalf. And obviously DK Metcalf hasn't been phenomenal, but he's done a whole lot more than Deontay and Deebo Samuel. So I'm not sure that this really does too much to those guys.
Well, in the case of Deontay Johnson, and say I'm fair or not, the last couple of years with the Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, not being top-notch, for him to do what he did is impressive in my opinion. And then when it comes to Deebo Samuel, he's chasing his money now because what he did last year was what the San Francisco 49ers expected him to do his first 2 seasons, but unfortunately he got hurt. So now when you look at it like that, hey, you knew I was this capable when you signed me, when you kept me, and then I did it. I can't afford, one, if you're going to use me as a receiver and a running back, I can't afford to take these hits, get injured like this, and then you don't want to pay me ever again. So I understand him going to chase that money at this point in his career, even if the 49ers feel it's early, even if on this show we thought it was kind of early. But looking at it in that perspective, a guy who's been injured, a guy who, when he was healthy, showed the potential they believed, and knows that he can do that again if he stays healthy, yeah, go get your money before it's too late. It's about getting the bag and in the NFL because you only have a short period of time to do so. So comparatively in that way, absolutely. But you're right. Like what DK Metcalf has done, and now we'll see if the money is worth it going into a year where he's with the Drew Lockett and Geno Smith and not a Russell Wilson, and that will be a difference maker. We'll see if that paycheck, he got his money at the right time too. Now can Deebo Samuel and Deontay Johnson get theirs before it's too late?
Both of those guys should be slotted underneath a DK Metcalf. To Vinny's point, I think you do have to kind of bring up the resume. And I'm sorry, Deebo has every right to want more money, but the 49ers have every right not to want to pay him that money based on one good season. We've seen this too many times in the NFL where guy struggles early out of the gate, has a breakout year, and then he wants to get paid. And it's like, I don't know if I want to break my pockets based on one season. Show me you can get 2 or 3 years of good quality production. For instance, Terry McLaurin, I've been on record saying Terry McLaurin hasn't been a gangbuster at wide receiver. Right. He's not putting up 1,500 yards, but he's been consistent for 3 straight years of quality production, which is why he deserved to get paid what he did. I've been on the mindset of Deebo Samuel does not deserve the money that he's looking for because of the fact that he hasn't done it consistently enough yet. He had a great year, but the injury is a real problem for him because of his style of play. Deontay Johnson, I'm almost there with him. He had 2 really good years the last couple of years. I don't really factor in the quarterback play very much because guys like Terry McLaurin have done it without quarterbacks. Other receivers have been able to do it without quarterbacks. Deontay's almost there, but I think he's maybe a year away from that. If he does it again this year, I think then you get it. You can say, okay, give me that money. DK Metcalf's upside is through the roof. We talked about this before. He has the upside of a top 5 wideout from a physical standpoint, from an ability standpoint. I think the deal makes sense. And for DK Metcalf, let's be honest, the deal was perfect for him. He only signs a 3-year deal, which means he gets another payday when he's 27 if he continues to produce. I thought it was a win-win for both teams. Seattle doesn't have to long-term invest in him. If in 2 or 3 years it's not working out, or maybe they've gone a different direction, they can cut ties and be clear. I thought it was a win-win all the way around.
I thought so too. Just real quick here. I thought it was a great deal on Seattle's side, locking up a DK for 3 years. That buys them time for a young rookie quarterback to come in there and have at least a big target to throw to right away. And you're not throwing to nobody out there, either lock it a little bit past his prime, potentially in a year or two. You have a nice young wide receiver, talented, a freak out there in DK Metcalf, and could be a target for one of those young guys that come in.
I really like
you guys. Just the 2 sentences. I think you guys crushed it from business perspective. Mine strictly came from what the players are thinking, and I completely agree with what the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Steelers should be doing at this point in time.
I really like the sheriff's comment in here. Brings up a very good point. Service level looks like the biggest hit on the DK money is this year too, which is smart. I like that. I like that idea because obviously this is a year that they're just chalking up. Okay, like we're just growing this year, and then they can say, okay, now we can pay him little by little in the following years to be able to put the pieces around DK and around the quarterback position to be able to have something special in the future. I think Seattle is doing everything right.